I think he described it as being as literally locked away in the hotel rooms as soon as they'd finished everything else, and it was like it was exactly the same. There is no time to do anything else apart from, what you're concentrating. Your record company obviously want you to be full on 100%, no time off. This is what you do. This is your schedule. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being, disrespectful about it because we knew the game, we knew what we were getting into. But at the same time, yeah, it's a hell of a lot of pressure. If you ever wanted to go out, go meet some friends or whatever, we always had this thing. There was a car park underneath the hotel, so our tour manager would get us in the van, and then we'd be out. And it's not like you could just walk outside and get a cab. Well, you probably could, but you'd probably spend about at least an hour doing photographs and autographs, which is great. I'm very thankful for that. But when you're trying to get a bit of peace or some time on your own, that was the way you used to do it. In Asia was completely off the record. You couldn't go out, to the point where they gave us like top floor of the hotels and security on every level. Craziness, but again, you got to be thankful. That's what we were there to do, and we enjoyed it. So yeah, mad days. And he was talking about things like the pressure that once you're in the band. I think he described it as being as literally locked away in the hotel rooms as soon as they'd finished everything else, and it was like it was exactly the same. Obviously, another level towards. They're like huge, huge. I mean, we did well, but they're like astronomical. But yeah, the job sheet that comes through your door every day, and it's like you're literally right back into your hotel room because you can't come out because it's a bit crazy downstairs or whatever. And also, and I've spoken about it on other things about the whole. For me personally, a lot of the mental issues, and I've spoken about the fact that drink and alcohol and drugs played a big part in my life when the split first happened, really. So yeah, aside from it being absolutely heartbreaking for his family and his little one and everybody that knows him and even his bandmates, you just kind of think absolutely horrendous. But there is little bits of it that I can, rightly or wrongly, I didn't know. Should I be, I didn't want to make judgments of exactly what happened, but your mind can't help thinking, you know, how did it all happen? How did it come together? And I can certainly associate with the fact of being, in your room and things not going your way at the time, and you rely on alcohol and drugs and all the rest of it. Obviously, my side of it's completely different to what happened, but just absolutely heartbreaking. And yeah, to answer to your question is I can fully put myself in a position of being, whether it's a day where not knowing where to turn or going through the alcohol and the drugs process and, what's going to happen next, what am I going to do with my life and all the rest of it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I can fully understand, a situation for him or anyone else that's been in that situation from a boy band point of view. There's a lot of pressure. God, as you can imagine, you can get it wherever you want because there is that kind of what do they call it? They call it the yes culture. So at the end of the day, especially if people are on the payroll as well, is that they're there to keep you happy, I guess, and give you whatever you need because they want you on top form whenever they need you to perform, basically. Um, so yeah, accessible wise, you could get whatever you wanted whenever you wanted it. I don't know how the other lads dealt with it at the time, but for me personally, it was more for me waking up the next morning thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do today because the job sheet's not there anymore. The people that were employed by PR, record company, all the rest of it were obviously weren't there anymore because they weren't getting paid anymore. And I guess it does give you it asks the question, who are your real friends and who weren't your friends? Because at the end of the day, if they're on the payroll, they're not really friends. And there's been a couple of occasions where you pick up the phone to people and they're obviously they'll have a chat with you, but they're not like the way they were when everything was full on and they were getting paid a good salary and all the rest of it, which is a shame. But at the same time, I wasn't naive enough to think that they were your best mates anyway. But for me, my downside of it was my own dealing with the fact that I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt very lost. I felt it was easy just to drink all day, and then when the drink didn't numb it anymore, I turned to the drugs. And I've spoke. This isn't something new. I've spoken about this before, but I got to the point where I'd reached the point where I was, um, I was ready to kind of end it because I just didn't think that there was anything left for me to kind of do. If I didn't have the music business and I didn't do the job that I've always done, then I kind of felt like I didn't have anything. I think the deepest, darkest sides of it was I did a lot of things. I kind of write. I was writing songs, but I mean, I look back on some of them songs now, and they're not even songs. They're literally just gothic, dark poetry because it was like saying what's on your mind. I suppose family and friends trying to talk you around, get you out, and all the rest of it. And a lot of the time, you were just kind of going, "I'm not interested anyway." But you slowly come around. Therapy eventually, and I think the biggest thing for me is that accepting what the problem was for me, not because of how I was dealing with it. I had to accept that I had a problem and the issue was me, not because I always felt like bitter towards as if like the world owed me something, and that's not the way it is. It's like you need to deal with your own kind of beliefs and problems, and until you believe them, you can't kind of start to mend it. Um, so therapy obviously helped a lot. Um, but I think it's having the strong mind to be able to, like I say, accept it because there is people out there that have problems, but until they accept it themselves, it will never get any better. Um, and hopefully everybody's different, but therapy a lot obviously worked for me. I think it was Ronan or one of the boys on lads mentioned that how the record company and the music industry should always have somebody there as a backup to help people through this situation, especially when you think about the likes of the X Factor and stuff. Because we all know that when you watch the X Factor, you get to the end of the year, you know, if they've gone on to huge superstardom, then great, that's great for them. But the ones that didn't, by the time the X Factor starts the next year, the others have kind of been discarded because they don't want the attention to be on them. They want it to be on the new signings or whatever it is. And people in the music business know this all day long, and that's the frustrating part. But what should be happening and what should be a general thing in the music business, I think, is somebody there, whether it's the psychological side of it or somebody there that's going to be the help to go, right, well, I've had this experience in the music business. I've really enjoyed it. I've been given everything on a plate. Now they've kind of taken it away from me. What do I do? And they should still be there for years to come, to help them through the process of kind of getting back to normality, if you like.